Alright, well, our daytime running light has gone out on the Escalade, and you would think that just to change this little light bulb out wouldn't be very complicated at all. But they put some stuff in the way, namely the water bottle and some plates and things in there, that makes it just impossible to get it from the back side like you think that you'd be able to do. There's an easy way to do it where you can take these bolts loose right here and get inside the inner fender, take a bolt loose, and you can slide this out a little bit and access just the daytime running light. You can't do the other light with it, but you can access that daytime running light just by pulling it out. But here's the problem that you run into with that, is that the previous owner must have done it that way. So if I zoom in right here, you'll see that it is such a tight squeeze. What it does is it damages the vehicle. So right there you can see it's such a tight squeeze to pull that out. And right there where that comes out, it scuffs up the vehicle. So I don't want to do that. I'd rather not have to deal with that. Plus, we'll show how to change out any of the bulbs by getting access to the back side. So we'll get set up, we'll do it the right way. So it takes a little bit longer, probably 20 minutes to get everything out of the way and a couple of minutes to change the bulb, but it's the way to go if you have to do any of the three bulbs, not just the running light bulb, but if you have to do the big one, you got to have access down there too. So we'll get everything out of the way and show how it's supposed to be done. That way you don't risk scuffing up stuff or cracking your lens or something when you're trying to pull it forward just enough to get it out of there. All right, so to get this done and get it done the right way, we got to get some stuff out of the way. So first off, we got to be able to get this inner fender, the liner, we got to get our hand up inside there. So we don't have to take it off, we just got to get it out of the way. But that means I got to move the wheel out of the way. Alright, so we got the wheel out of the way so we can access that inner fender. So we're going to switch to the top up here and see what we all got to take off, and then we'll take the inner fender loose right at the last, because there's one bolt on the inside that's a lot easier to get to if you just put your hand up inside the fender. Alright, so the problem we have with getting back here behind it to get the bulbs out is that this water bottle's in the way, because they come up with some crazy designs on these. I don't know what that's for, maybe extra battery, who knows. But it's in the way, so this plate's got to come off in order to get the water bottle off. But we also have to take this plate right inside of here that holds all that together. That way we can take the water bottle loose from the bottom and slide it out of the way. So first off, let's get this plate off here. So it's just a bunch of bolts. Alright, so with all the bolts loose, you can just take the plate, slide it out underneath that thing right there, and we got our plate out. There we go. So now with the plate out, you can actually see the water bottle, but you can't get it out of there, it's still held in. And if you take this loose, and then there's one at the bottom down there that we'll show here in a minute, you still can't slide it up because this is in the way. So the next stop, there's 4 bolts right down here on the inside that have to come loose to take this plate off. So let me scoot the camera around a little bit and see if we can see those bolts. Alright, so now we're looking down into the front of the vehicle. Here's the top of the water bottle. And what I got to do is take this plate off right here. And so it's got 4 bolts that hold it right down inside here. So we got to take those off. And there's 3, so then we got 1 more on top that you got to use a open end wrench for. Right up in there. And there we go. So now this plate is free, but it's still held to the water bottle on a bolt in the bottom. So now we got to scoot around to the inner fender, and we got to take the inner fender off, because right down here in the bottom, probably can't see it on the camera, but there's a little bolt right there. And so I'll have to take the inner fender out, and then you'll see me reach up inside of there, hopefully on the camera, and take that out. So let's scoot over here and get the inner fender off. Alright, so next stop is to take the inner fender out. So it's got just a couple of little screws that hold it right here. And then we got two little caps we got to pull off, so grab your little plastic pulling thing and pull them off. Right there. And it's almost got it freed up. There's one more up top to take off, and it's the kind that you pull out on, so just take a screwdriver and stick it in there and pop the center out, and it pops out too. So now we got access, and you can see, if I can push this liner back a little bit into the tire, now you can see the back side of the water bottle. Alright, so just a little closer in on the water bottle. I can't quite see the bolt head, but if you run your hand right along the top up above this, you'll feel that bolt. And it's up on the inside right there, so you just got to take it loose. Like I say, it's a lot easier right here. So go ahead and take that bolt loose. And right here on this side is a connector right there. And so we'll need to take that connector loose because it's easier to get to right here, because we're going to pull the water bottle out. So let me get a wrench and we'll get that bolt out right on the inside. Right up here, you'll feel it. And we'll be able to take this water bottle out. So it's a 10 millimeter, since you can't see it. You'll be able to feel it up in there. And there's the bolt. So very similar to those top bolts. Alright, so we got the water bottle loose on the bottom. We got this one connector that's over here, easy to access. We got it took loose, bolts off. So now let's move up to the top. We're going to take the last bolt that holds the water bottle on, and then it'll allow it to drop down so we can get the other two connectors off. So we'll get set back up here and take that bolt loose. Alright, so the last bolt holding the water bottle up is this little bolt right here. So we're going to take it loose. And what that's going to do is let us drop the water bottle down a little bit so we can get those connectors off the bottom easier. So let's get him dropped down. That's the only thing holding it in there at this point. So hold on to its little head so it makes it easy to get the screw off. Alright, so now the water bottle is free, other than it can't come upward because it's hitting on everything. This thing we got to move out of the way, but let's go ahead and get the electrical connectors loose on the bottom. So let's drop it down a little bit, give us a little easier access to the electrical connectors. And then we'll go on to the bottom here and take the last two connectors loose. Alright, so we're under the bottom. We just got to get the two electrical connectors loose. We don't have to take the little pumpy hoses loose. We just got to take the connectors loose. So there's one right here. We'll zoom in on. One right there, and then there's one up top, right up there. Those are the two little pump connectors, so all we got to do is pop those free. So we'll just raise up on him. Sometimes they'll pop free pretty easy. Sometimes you got to work a little bit. This one's a little harder to get to up here. That's why you got to drop the water bottle down. Now you can see we got the two connectors disconnected, and we don't have to worry about the little hoses because that'll just pull right out of there with the hoses, keep them intact. So now let's head up top and pull the water bottle out. And so we got everything disconnected. All we got to do is take this little connector right here loose that holds the hoses coming up. So you just pop it with your fingernail, and we should be able to grab the water bottle by its head. Slide this bracket over some, like that, and fish the water bottle out. So there we go. Now we got the water bottle out of the way, and we got access to the bolts. So now we got to change our bolt after all that work. So the only thing holding us back right now is the little protector rubber thing. So we just got to pop a couple of the clips off, slide it out of the way, and we'll be ready to get in here on the bolt. Alright, so all we got to do is just pull this little guy out of here. Sometimes they're annoying most times they break. So might as well buy a box of those little things. Alright, so then, mine fell down because it was broken, but there are all of the bulbs. So this is the main one, and then this is my running light that I got to change out. So to get it changed out, all we do is grab it and twist the little cover off. And then there sits the light. So to get the light out, you have to squeeze on the top and bottom of the little thing. But first take your connector loose, get him out of the way. And then right there you can see I got to squeeze those two. So squeeze it and take it and turn it that way, and out she comes. So now there's our little bulb, and we just got to replace that little bulb. Alright, so to change our little bulb out, what we got to do is get him out of this little holder. And so I got gloves on because you don't really want to be touching the light bulb. So all you do is open up the little thing and pull that off. And so this is the bulb part that you buy, and then this is the replacement. Alright, so we're ready to put a new bulb in. Now there's an orientation. There's little tabs right here that go in these little grooves. And so you got to get those little tabs to line up inside of their little grooves. And once you get them lined up, then it just snaps back on there. And the little wings flex, they go behind the little black part right there. And we're ready to reinstall. Alright, so we're ready to reinstall our bulb. And as you can see where my thumb is on top there, there's no tab. The big tab's on the bottom. And so it goes with my thumb up, and so all we do is just put it back in there, turn it sideways like that. You can see it's leaning, and then we just twist it and it pops back in place. So then all we do is put our connector back on, and then we put our little cover back on. And so the cover goes the same way. You have to fiddle with it a little bit, but you just put the cover on until it latches in the grooves, and then give it a twist until it locks, and it'll go on that way. It may go on another way. Let's see. Oh yeah, so it goes that way, standing up and down. So you start over here with it leaning, and then stand it up, and then lock it in place, and you'll hear it pop. So it's a little bit off. And there we go. We have successfully changed out our running light. So like I say, this would be the way to go if you were doing the big lights. They're underneath the cover right here. You just have to pop the cover off, and you can take the bulb out for your main lights. And that'd be the way to get to them. The little bitty one is up on top up here, and so you could get to it as well. So a little more complicated to actually get it without having to pull all this out the front, but it's the way to go, especially if you got to change one of these. It's the only way to go. And there we have it. Well, alrighty. So putting it back together is just in reverse order. There's 3 connectors on the water bottle, and then just a bunch of bolts and plates, and away we go. Alright, so we finished up with the passenger side over there. That's the tough one. This one over here is super simple. All you got to do is take the clamps loose right here and right there, and just pop it loose, get your mass airflow out of the way, and then take the box and pull up on it real hard, and it'll pop loose from the frame down there, and then slide that guy out of there. Worst case is if you can't get it out, if it's hanging on stuff, you can take the top off like you're changing the air filter. Then you just have the bottom to contend with. Pull up on it, and then there's a plate down there that you may have to take that plate off to get to the bottom bulb. But it works the same way. Right inside of here is just the little rubber flapper, and you can access those real easy. So we won't make a video for those, as this is a super easy side compared to the driver's side over there that is a pain in the butt. Well, alrighty. Well, thanks for watching.